In this video, I'm going to talk about the future of game making while introducing you to core games. This is something that makes me both nervous and excited at the same time. I'll be discussing the opportunities and why, as game creators, we need to take note of these game maker platforms. So hello and welcome to Gabbett Media. I'm Grant Abbott, and today I'll be talking about the future of game making, and in particular focusing on game making platforms such as today's sponsor, Core Games. So initially, Core Games reached out to me and said, can we place an advert on your channel? But I was really interested in what they were doing that I said I'd do a complete video on the subject. So this video, of course, will focus on Core Games and what's great about their platform, but it's a general discussion about these sort of game maker platforms and what that means for our industry. There are actually some good advantages to Core Games, so I do feel like it's a good platform to focus upon and talk about, so I'm happy to promote their work. As always, the sponsorship content I do is only things that I think you, the audience, would like to know about, and products and services I believe in, so I won't promote anything else. So what is Core and what's all the fuss about? Well, it's a PC gaming platform where anyone can create, share and play PC multiplayer games. And everything you see in the background is from games created using Core, and it's surprisingly easy. They were made by one person in just a few days or weeks, which to me sounds absolutely insane. It's completely free, so free to download and free to play all the different games that are created on there, and it's free to use it to create games. It's available from the Epic Games Store, link in the description of course. There's no coding required, although you can create your own game logic in Lua, a kind of lightweight programming language. It's got built-in multiplayer, and it's really easy to get that going. You can publish your games instantly for others to play. It's got really high quality graphics, as you can see in the background. I would say AAA standard. It's got thousands of free music, sounds and art assets. You can easily build a game from scratch. You can't, however, import your own models into it, but you can create lots from the models available in a kind of kit bashing way. It's all powered by the Unreal Engine, and yes, you can make some money with this. You get 50% of the revenue you make. I was quite impressed by this because that's double what Roblox offers, and that's another similar popular platform for making games. Now in terms of revenue, you can get that through either tips or donations or in-game purchase options. So I had to play around with this, and you can see me creating a simple scene in the background, and hopefully you can see how easy this is. Like I say, you can kit bash with lots of their different models, so combine them together to make much more complex models, and it's got some really sort of basic primitives that you can build together, so it's got lots of opportunities there. I must admit I was kind of disappointed in some ways that I couldn't add my own models, because being an artist for me is a big part of the process. Then I looked up what people had made, and this person that you can see in the background here made me realise how much you can do with the basic primitives. And it makes sense why Core Games is keeping the models all in-house, because that way they can make them really optimize and integrate in the best way. It also takes many years to build up the skill level to create game art, and lots of people just want to express their ideas as quickly as possible. Which brings me on to my next point. Is this the future of game making? Well, Core as a platform is very popular. There's over 20,000 games on there already. You can literally make a reasonably complex game in a day or so with AAA graphics and multiplayer support. You can be really inventive with the objects that are on offer through kit bashing and combining them to make completely new and individual objects. There's lots of templates you can use for the type of game you want, or you can work completely from scratch. And that is essentially what we all want, both us as creators and the platforms. They want it to be easy for us to make games. And we both want that ease to not limit our creativity, so we can be free to express ourselves and come up with weird and wonderful ideas and have fun making games. And sometimes I do actually get nervous about these kind of platforms. These tools are making it so much easier to make game assets and games themselves that I kind of wonder when my technical skills especially will become a bit obsolete. And that's why I do think it's really important to work on your creativity skills, your artistic skills in terms of composition, your game making skills in terms of understanding gameplay and dynamics and what people want, so that you can kind of move with the times. And it's essential for us to be adaptable in this way and embrace these new technologies as they emerge. Now I would say these platforms aren't completely there yet, and it will be a while before they replace the engines like Unity and Unreal, if they ever do, as there are still some limitations that I've mentioned. But they're really not far off. The amount of models you can choose from is hugely wide, and the games people have made are pretty good fun and really quite impressive. Now many of you might be thinking, as I was, well, if you can't sell your game, then you're really limited in the amount of money you can make. So what are the opportunities? And I know for many creators it's not just the love of creating games, but we want to support ourselves financially whilst making them. Making money doing something you love is a dream for most people, so do these platforms make this possible? Well, yes, in some ways. Like I say, you can't sell your game, but you can make your games premium or require memberships. Obviously that game has to be pretty amazing in order for people to jump on board with that. And in Core, they have what's called a Core Perks program, so you can have in-game purchases to monetize your game. They gave me an example from the game Hellbreach, and apparently the game's doing really well. And like I've said before, Core shares 50% of the revenue with its creators. You can offer expansion packs, and I had a go on a game where they had an area for tips and donations. So your work can be rewarded. How much though is obviously down to the popularity of your game. Can you quit your day job, buy your dream car, and make a living off making these games? Well, people have actually done that, so with the right ideas and creativity, perhaps you could too. It could possibly be argued that there's more chance of you doing it like this as a solo developer than there is if you make a game through Unreal or Unity. You'd probably be able to make at least 100 games on this platform in the same time, which certainly increases the odds. There are other opportunities for things like streaming, even creating tutorials about how to use these platforms, because it's still relatively early days, and getting in there early with good quality content can be a great opportunity to build an audience. I really think it's important for people to at least try out these platforms, even seasoned game creators out there, because we need to be aware of the possibilities and the current limitations of these game builders, because they're only going to get better and more popular, and I actually think this is probably the future of game making. The difficulty for these platforms, of course, is one, making them really accessible and easy to learn, but on the other hand, allowing people freedom to create weird, wonderful and amazing things that are really individual. I would also really recommend this for people just starting out in game making, because I think there's a huge amount you can learn by quickly making games. So jump onto the platform, make some random games, see how it works, see if people like your ideas, and learn from that. If you're using something like Unity or Unreal, you have to spend a huge amount of time putting a simple game together, and trying out ideas can be really painful and time consuming, and if your game doesn't work, it can be completely demoralizing. So here we can now actually practice making games and find out what works and what doesn't. And like I say, these platforms are only going to get better, more powerful, more extensive, easier to operate, so it's important you understand how they work and the current limitations. That's certainly my thoughts on the subject anyway. Let me know what you think in the comments and whether you've tried these platforms and how you've got on. Are you fearful of this development, or maybe looking forward to what this has to offer? Now, in particular with Core Games, there are other opportunities on offer. They run what they call collab jams, where you can create games and environments or worlds using their creator tools, and enter your creations into these kind of competitions or collaborations. And they have lots of prizes and exposure on offer. Recently they ran a competition to create an environment for a music video for the artist Deadmau5, and you can see some of the creations in the background. These will then be used in the video, which looks quite fun, and it's a great way to motivate yourself to create by getting involved with these sort of things. So there we have it. Let me know your thoughts on the subject in the comments below. I really am curious to see what the community makes of these things, and whether you agree with me that this probably is the future of game making. Thanks once again to Core Games for sponsoring this video. So, well worth checking out Core Games, the link's in the description. You can download it for free and start making some great games today. And thanks to everybody out there for watching. I'll see you next time.